I've been working as a bus driver for more than 20 years, and I've traveled all over the region. But for some reason I never went to Konstantinovka. Until one incident. On that trip the driver got sick, and I had to take his place. It was not a close road, and I had only 2 trips during my shift. The first, in the morning, went smoothly, without any adventures. I will remember the second, evening trip for a long time. I left the station at 4:30. It was already getting dark. By the time we got out of the city, it had become quite dark. And then a snowstorm began, of the kind that I couldn't see anything further than a few meters. I had nothing to do. I slowed down. I was driving slowly. And suddenly, on a bend the bus ran into something, whether it was a hole in the road, or a bump, or something was lying. I didn't even manage to make out, but the shaking was good. I decided to stop and check if everything was all right. The transport in our park was not new, and it was better to be reinsured. I pulled over to the side of the road, turned on my hazard lights, and then the grandmother in the front seat said to me, "You shouldn't go in there. It's not a good place." Well, yes, I think I stood up not very well, just past the sharp turn of the road, and it's still blowing. I tell my grandmother, "I won't be long, don't worry, I'll just make sure the wheels aren't flat." She got obviously nervous, looked at me strangely and asked, "Don't go into the field, don't leave the road at all." I didn't even understand her. What had I forgotten in the field? Especially in such a snowstorm? So, I jumped out of the bus and went to check the wheels. They were fine, and I wondered what I had run into. I walked back a little bit. The road was just like a road, all covered with snow, no potholes or bumps. I looked back. I couldn't see the bus in the snow. But in a field across the road I could see a house with shining windows. I look at that house and I think, I must go there, ask to wait out the snowstorm. It must be nice there, it must be warm. I was so strongly attracted to it that I did not notice how I went to the other side of the road. I took a step, another step, and then a car horn roared somewhere on the side, and the headlights blinded me. I barely had time to jump away when a car rushed past at high speed. I turned my gaze to the field, and the house was gone. I started to stare, trying to make it out in the snow, and then the horn sounded again, harsh, loud. I even shuddered, twitched, and looked. My bus was just a stone's throw away, flashing its emergency lights. I ran back to the bus. I went inside, and the granny in the front seat was standing over the steering wheel. She was humming to me, as it turned out. So we drove on. As we drove on, my grandmother told me that some accidents happen at that place. And people often go missing. Especially in winter. Especially in bad weather. It's not a good place.